Showtime!
It's about that time.
Let's go!
You're right where you need to be. This is GCOM Radio.
Hardest radio station on the planet. Yeah!
Powered by Lyfeblood.com.
We certified.
And hosted by Nova Phoenix.
Give them that flavor.
All right, folks. Yes, we are here for another show in the bank right here, man, on GCOM Radio, episode 179. We're back again. How's everybody been? Hopefully it has been vanglorious for all of you out there. I had to switch my headphones. I do not know why I had to switch my headphones. I had some issues recording my first show of 2023 last week. It was an issue. I don't know what happened. The audio came out real low, and I had to do some adjustments in post to throw it up to you guys because of course, you know, it's pre-recorded, and I just had to do some tweaks here and there to really get the audio back. I have no idea why I did not have but then I found out. And this is a rookie mistake, and I'm hoping this is what it was. I record out of a Blue Yeti microphone, and the gain was way down. I don't touch my mic. I have my mic set to a specific level, and I record day in, day out, week in and week out the same way. I don't know why the gain was super low. I'm hoping that was the only thing that was causing the issue for the audio to come out real low, but I think I fixed it because I did a little test last week and the audio came back fine. I'm hoping that's the issue. And you're gonna say, Nova, well, if you tested it and it came back fine, you don't sound 100% sure. Yeah, because you never know with technology. Sometimes you can try to fix it, then it's fixed and something else can happen. The reason why I say that, let me just take my gain right quick. Let me just check so I up the gain. All right, I don't want to up it that anymore because then it'll start peaking. And I use Reaper for as my recording software. So or as they say, DAW, I think they call it, digital audio workspace. Anyway, the reason why I say that is because I was using my Beats headphones. As I said before last week, I'm like, I just got Beats headphones. I'm using it now. Sounds great. Having issues again. For some reason, the audio is only coming out of the left ear and not both ears. So I tried it in Reaper to balance the audio. Nothing works. I tried in my Mac because I work off an iMac. That didn't work. For some reason, only audio was coming out of the left ear. So I have another set of headphones that I've been using for a minute. I just went to get that. I'll figure it out later. I'm like, I don't have time for this. So I switched out the headphones and I'm back to my old one. So I have no idea, and I can hear the difference. The headphones I got, they're nice. There's nothing wrong with them. Actually, it comes from a black-owned company, but it's a little light. That as far as the audio is not balanced with a good equilibrium of bass and treble. So it comes a little high, but it's fine. I deal with it because when I play it back in it's a headphone thing. When I play it back I piece together in Final Cut, surprising as that may sound, of course, because I also throw it up on YouTube. So instead of editing on Reaper, I edit on Final Cut Pro because of the YouTube segment. And at some point, of course, I will do it week in and week out, the video aspect as well. If I have interviews, I do the interviews through Zoom. And of course, that would give reason to cut it in the Final Cut if I need to make any adjustments in the audio, in the video portion of it. But yeah, I cut in Final Cut Pro, and I throw it up on my YouTube channel, and of course the audio file goes into Spreaker. I use Spreaker, of course, to disseminate my audio to all the podcast platforms. So yeah, I don't know what happened. Kind of tight, kind of perturbed about the whole thing with the Beats headphones. I don't know why it's only playing out of the left earphone. Who knows? All right, folks, let me get into the show. Let's get into it. This show is going to be about, what I spoke about last week, the Point Proclamation for Black communities and hip hop. And it was inspired by the unfortunate death of Takeoff from Migos. But yeah, before I get into that, I don't know whatever, excuse me, again, I'm doing it. My mouth is dry. Excuse me while I drink some water. My bad, y'all. My bad. Hold on. I went to the gym, and if I don't drink water at the gym, I drink water at home. If I don't drink water, my mouth gets dry, and I kind of bop, you know what I mean? So anyway, I didn't know if I was going to split this up or not. All right. And because something that recently came to my attention on social media, of course. And I said, yo, should I just talk about it in a separate show? Should I leave that? Should I do regular shows? Should I talk about the 8 points? I said, you know what? I won't make it a long thing, but, I'll talk about this thing that I seen about farmers and buying land, black folk buying acres out west. And, I'll go into the 8 points. And I guess you can relate it. But anyway, let's get into it. I'm your host, Nova Phoenix, on GCOM Radio, on iHeartRadio. And the first topic that I want to discuss before I go into the 8 points is black farming and black folk buying acres of land. So I found on IG, the first thing I saw a black couple on IG, and you can go find them. They're at Black Home Educators. Just at how it's spelled, at Black Home Educators on IG, and they shared on their post they bought 50 acres of land in Montana. Beautiful. Congratulations to the couple. Fantastic. That's great. I don't know if they bought it for farming. I don't know if they bought it for home life. But they were just, celebrating, and I don't want to be a Debbie Downer if they share a great accomplishment on IG, but I just wasn't sure about that. I'm like, they bought 50 acres of land in Montana. What could possibly go wrong? What could possibly, I don't know. I'm not sure. It escapes me. I can't quite put my finger on it. I don't know what could be the problem. Okay. Of course, we know what could be the problem. You living in Montana. I'm like, how many black people live in Montana? I don't know why they bought. Oh, man. They bought 50 acres of land in Montana. And I checked. Montana is like 95%. And I would be super sure. Let's see if we can find this right here. Let's go to the Googles. Montana population, or let me just erase that and put demographics. That's more direct. Okay, so they're saying Montana is 85.7% white, 4.2% Hispanic, 0.5% black, 0.5%. Okay. 6% was American Indian, Native American, American Indian, Alaska Native. All right, let's go. That's the first on the list here. Let's just go to Wikipedia, and we're gonna go right down to demographics here. Let's click on that. What do they say here? They say the population in Montana in 2020. It says 88.9% is white, 6.7% is American Indian and Alaska Native, 4.1% Hispanic and Latino of any race, 0.9% Asian, 0.6% Black or African American. And they go farther, 0.1% Native Hawaiian or other Pacific Islander, and 2.8% from 2 or more races. So Montana is predominantly a white state. All right. So folks, you know what the problem is here, right? you as black folks, and I'm speaking to my people, everybody's listening to the show. I want everybody to chime in because this is important. I want everybody to go sit in their seats, please, wherever you're at, take a seat, get comfortable, have breakfast, have lunch, whatever, whenever or wherever you're listening to this podcast at this moment in time. Pull up a seat, folks, and start a conversation with your family and friends. If you want to reach out to me, I'm well open to it. You can go to Lyfeblood.com at Twitter or at IG. I have a problem with black folks buying land in places that are predominantly white. And obviously we know. Of course, black folk dealing with racism and white supremacy. I congratulated the couple in Montana buying the 50 acres of land. They were very excited. The video was being shown from inside their car showing the house. I have no problems with that. But as black people, we have to be smart living in this country in 2023. We have to be smart where we live. We just can't buy any and everywhere. Yes, you can buy land. If someone is willing to take your money and you're willing to give your money, you could live wherever you want. But you're going to have to deal with white supremacy because you're in a predominantly white country. Now, I'm pretty sure Montana, a good portion of Montanans, how you want to go, Montanians or Montanans, wherever, a good portion of them are MAGAs. Far right, fringe, far right wing, and let's go, they're almost off the cliff with their beliefs and ideology. And I'm not here to tell them that they cannot believe in what they want to believe in. I don't care what they want to believe in. All I'm concerned is these black folk decided to take the time and energy to buy 50 acres of land, go through the whole process. I'm sure they drove around before they bought this property. And I'm sure when they were talking to the individual that was selling them that land, that they gave them the lowdown of what's going on in Montana. Sure, you want to be a black cowboy, that's fine. You want the leather boots and the jeans and you want to be a black Marlboro man. I have not a problem with that. That is your prerogative. But as black people, you have to be aware of what's been going down in this country for 400 years. Let's not go in the last 400 years. Let's just go in the last 50 years. Let's go in the last 25 years. Let's go in the last 10 years of what black people had to go through. You can see it right on social media itself. IG, Twitter, any other social media platform where you see things that people decide to share the injustices that black people go through. And you decide to go and buy 50 acres of land in Montana. More power to them. I give them all my love. I give them all my spiritual support. Yeah. Sorry, folks. So now, please go to their page, Black Home Educators, and you'll see for yourself what I mean. Not a problem. They're happy. They're happy as can be. I'm right there with them. So as I continue on, I don't know if it was the same day or the next day where I was scrolling through IG and I bump into Teslyn Figaro's page. Everybody knows Teslyn Figaro. She's an activist. She's a speaker for black folks when it deals with politics. And she trains people how to be politicians, local politicians, how to be aware and navigate within the political circles on the local level, on the state level, if possible, and where it can go into the federal level. She's been involved with a variety of different people, public figures. And I support Teslyn Figaro. It's what black folks need in this country in order to get our just due in terms of equity and justice. So I'm with Tez all the way. Spoke to her a little bit on her video feed one time. But yeah, she's cool. She's cool nonetheless. I love Tez. I love what she's about. But she decided to share. And this is exactly is tied into the Black Home Educators on IG. And I said it. And man, I hate in this situation where I'm right. So she shares. They're actual farmers now. Not in Montana, but in Colorado. And what happens? So this black couple bought 1,000 acres of land in El Paso County, Colorado. They call their ranch, the Freedom Acres Ranch. You can actually look at them. They're at ARK, A-R-K Republic. At ARK Republic. You can go right to their IG page and you can check out what's going on with them. And if you want to support, they're going through some issues. The issues that they're going through because they decided to buy farmland right in the heart of Colorado. Now they're coming with problems dealing with what? As I said before, racism and white supremacy. So they've had their livestock missing and killed, property damage, well water stolen, and electricity cut. They've been surveilled and they've also been threatened with lynching. Now, allegedly also, this is crazy. Allegedly also, a white man, a strange white dude, entered the bathroom. And I hopefully I'm getting this right. I don't know if this is even if I'm getting this right. I don't know if it's actually true, but I read on the account that there was a white man that entered the bathroom where the black man's wife was in the shower. He just entered the bathroom. I don't know how this dude got in the house. I don't know how he got into the bathroom. It's creepy and it's crazy and as scary as it sounds, it is. Because if that did happen, I'm like, yo, what do you do in that moment? I don't know. It's madness. But regardless, if you remove that situation, they are dealing with a lot of hardships as far as their farm being raided and run up in. And yeah, it's crazy. And I said, this is what I was talking about when I spoke to the couple in the first profile. This is what you're going to have to deal with. Now, let's check Colorado. While we're on it, let us see Colorado. Let's go straight to Wikipedia. Wiki. Let's go straight Colorado. Okay, Colorado right here. Let's go right to the demographics. What are we dealing with here? All right. So the demographics, the 2020 census says we have about 69.4% white, 21.9% Hispanic, 4.9, let's say 5% black. Okay. 5% black, 4.7 Asian, 2.1 Native American, 0.4 Pacific Islander, and then there's other. Yeah. So before in the census in 1970, it was 95.7% white, but of course those numbers kind of fell for whatever reason, and there was an uptick in. Actually, by the look of it, from what I see, the black population numbers didn't move at all. It's kind of probably a percent. It went up since 1970, but it's stayed pretty stable. But the numbers dropped for the white population. I don't know what the Hispanic. It doesn't say what the Hispanic population numbers were in 1970, but they hold at least about 21.9% in Colorado. Okay, so you can say Colorado is a majority white space. And the same way where I said with Montana, Colorado is probably the same thing. You probably got a lot of people, MAGA boys, that wholeheartedly support Trump, and they feel some type of way. What they say on camera will never compare to what they're actually saying when the cameras are not on. So I listen to what they say on camera, but I also am aware of what they're saying when the camera's not on and I'm not hearing. So they decided to buy, and obviously you see what's happening from, I don't even have to hear what they don't say on camera because their actions speak louder than words, and what is happening to this family in Colorado on their Freedom's Acres Ranch. So, at first I was like, people, I was checking the comments and a lot of people were saying they have their Second Amendment rights. They should be armed. Shoot, they could, get long guns. I've heard all the type of things where, the family should protect themselves. And that damn right, I do believe in people protecting themselves. But it's more than that. I think it's more than that, where you could just plop yourself down in the majority white area. Because, you have to think of this in 2023. You have to think, as black people, wherever you move, you have to think about where you are going to place your feet. Not just for you as far as this couple, and when I say you, the couple themselves, but if they intend to have a family, they got to protect their family and their loved ones. So all these things should come into play where you move. And And I believe where you move, you have to pick an area where there's strength in community, without a doubt. Because if you're going to have these issues, you can't be the lone black couple or black family or in a house living in an area where it's majority white and you don't even know who your neighbors are. And it doesn't even matter if you have allies, because the allies are definitely not in the same numbers as some of those folks that don't want black people moving into their county or whatever that may be. I think you should get political support wherever you can. And I mentioned this is important. It's not just arming yourselves. It's not just, being in a place of community of like mind and folks where, as I always say, there's strength in numbers. Where things do go down, you're not by yourself. But you should also have political support in your DAs, the police, the lawyers, mayors, and all these things that are happening. If you move in a town that's majority white, even if you seek out political support, I'm pretty damn sure that the folks that you're seeking help for in the case of these situations are probably going to be MAGA people too. So they're not going to help you. You could call the sheriff. You could go to the mayor. You could go to the DA. You could go to anybody. And if the people that have accosted you in whatever way are the same people in this small town in this county that look the same thing, you have allowed yourself to be in a very vulnerable position. A very vulnerable position. And that's why black people have to be very intentional where they move. Now, I could say at the very beginning, I was like, yeah, be armed. And you got to be ready. And I'm like, yeah. But Teslin responded to me and she's like, oh, it's not about moving or something. I'm paraphrasing. It's about farmers. You don't make any sense what you're saying. They move there to farm. Yeah. Great. Yeah, that's fantastic and all. But again, you have to think of these things if you decide to move in an area where you could count the amount of black people on your hand. And yeah, you should be more than likely be armed and be ready for anything that may happen to you. But then I'm thinking, you're doing all these things. You're going to have like shotguns and handguns and long guns, and you're going to have all these things. Oh, shoot, I'm going to arm up because I don't know what's going to happen. And you're very well, you should be armed, right? In any situation. But then I'm like, wait a second. So you bought this land in order to farm. You wanted to start a life and a career with farming, with your livestock. If you want to get milk, your butter, whatever the case may be, whatever you're selling off of your farm, your 1,000 acres. But now you moved into this area, and now you have to think about fortifying your grounds as if it's some sort of a fortress. You ain't moved there to be a soldier. You ain't moved there to take up the battlefront. You moved there to be a farmer. That's all you wanted to do, man. You wanted to plant you want to get your squash and your potatoes. You want to raise your pigs, your cows, your horses. That's all you ever wanted to do. You want to get up in the morning with a fresh pot of coffee, seeing that sunrise come up over the horizon, and you can hear the cock crowing, and you wanted peace. That's why people move there. Yeah, you should be armed and everything like that. But now you got to think of, you got to keep your AR-15 loaded right along with making sure your pigs get the feed for the morning. That's not what you came there for. That's why I'm saying black people have to start thinking, man. Think. Just be like, hey, you know what? I'm just going to move up. No, you can't. I'm sorry. One response that someone gave me was like, well, they're Americans and they can live anywhere. I don't know. What are you talking about? Of course, you know how social media goes. They have that right. Yeah, they have that right. I have no problems with you wanting to choose anywhere you want to live. But you also have to be aware of where you're going to live and be, what's the magic words, boys and girls, intentional on where you're moving to. You can't just move into an all-white area, state or county and think it's going to be all good. And then all of a sudden, you dealing with all this white supremacists that's coming in and running up in your home and killing your livestock and poisoning your well water and stealing your equipment. You got to start thinking the way you live. You can't live anywhere. That's just the truth of the matter. You can't just up and live anywhere. White folks can, sure, in a lot of ways. But that's just the reality of living in America 2023 as black people, as Latino people, as people of color. If you're East Indian or wherever, you just can't decide to put your feet anywhere. And if you do, and all of a sudden now you crying, you're like, oh my God, I'm in fear of my life. And then, no, you decided to move there. You thought it was all good. Now, I told this person, if you moved to Pennsylvania, let's say Pennsylvania got the most KKK people, that's amazing to me. Would you move next to a Ku Klux Klan town? Would you move adjacent to a county where the Ku Klux Klan be burning crosses? Would you do that? Now, you have that right as an American, yes. If you're willing to give your money and someone's willing to take it, yes, you have a right. But is it smart? Should you do that? I'm not moving next to the KKK town. And all I see in the nighttime is the glow of the fires, and it's coming off the cross. Hell to the nah, I'm not doing it. Nah, I'm not doing it. Black people have to be bold letters underlined, intentional in what they do, even in the most mundane of tasks. We know the history of the treatment of black Americans in this country, African Americans. We know in the last 20 years, we don't even have to go back a century. We know the injustices. We know the unfair treatment. Yes, there are a lot of wins. I'm not saying there's all losses. Black people win a lot when it comes to certain cases dealing with racism. But when you put yourself out there and you are the lone black person, maybe you shouldn't live there. Okay, maybe you shouldn't live there. Now, another response someone told me, oh, it's cowardice. What do you expect to live amongst black people and all that? They said something to that, like they can live in it. No, it's not about cowardice. It's about being smart. It's not about being fearful. It's about being aware of your surroundings. It's you have to play it like chess. Everybody knows the game of chess. Would you put your piece, your pawn, your rook, your knight right dead in the center of your opposing side's line? No, because you are going to get taken. Whether the pawn or their rook or their knight is going to knock you out. You're never going to sacrifice your piece, not unless it's on purpose for you to open up another move to expose their key piece. You will never put one of your key pieces to get knocked off the board. It is stupid. So the same way you can understand that concept in chess, you have to think the same way in real life. Why are you going to put yourself in the middle of a state or county where you're the only black person, and now when you're dealing with white supremacy, now you crying? Oh my God, please somebody help me. Why did you move there? Think, man. You don't have to. I'm not saying for people not to farm. I believe in farming, no doubt. I hear you. You should produce your own food. I get that. Excuse me. I get that you got to produce your own food. But now we have to think outside the box. We have to think of smart farming. We have to think about areas where we can farm, where we don't have to worry about these white supremacists. I'm not saying you could totally eliminate it, but at least give yourself some sort of a protection if in case it does happen. Let them think twice or 3 times. Now I say smart farming. You do not have to buy 1,000. I'm not an agriculturalist. I'm just saying because I study, the sciences. I'm a forward thinker. I love anything about science, any new inventions, any new methods. I'm into it. That's what it's all about. It's me being a founder of Lyfeblood.com. That's what I'm all about. How do we improve? How do we become more efficient in whatever as humans have been doing? We did it a different way 100 years ago. We have improved it. We could create more food. We can build build transportation that instead of taking 24 hours, it takes 2 hours. I'm all about inviting new technologies and methodologies that can improve the way human beings can interact on land. Now, that being said, let's get into smart farming. They spent a lot of money buying 1,000 acres. The other couple that nothing has happened to them, hope nothing happens to them, bought 50 acres. I don't know what are they getting into. But in terms of farming, let's get into smart farming. Okay? What can we do to reduce our footprint? Where else can we go where we can buy land where we don't have to worry about white supremacists getting the best of us? You know what white supremacists love a lot? They love children. White supremacists love old people, and they love black people when they are at a numerical deficiency, at a numerical disadvantage. That's where they get a lot of their courage from. That's how they beat their chests and can get away with certain things. When you 1, 2, 3, and all of a sudden you around 1,000, why? A lot of attitudes change when you are in a numerical advantage. Don't play coy. Don't play stupid. Now, as I said, with smart farming, they have this international conference and expo in Dubai. I found this out. I accidentally ran into it. There was a guy that I follow. He used to be on MSNBC. He was a host there. He got thrown off for whatever reason. He was really following the script. So he was like, this dude's not following the script. Let's get him out of here. And he actually shared that there is, I'm trying to go into my favorites. He actually shared where there's an expo in Dubai. Let's see if I can find it here. And I had to close this stupid thing down because let me book my bookmark manager. Excuse me, folks. Let me go into Lyfeblood GCOM Radio, and I'm going to say it right now. I'm going to read it. They do it every year. All right, so it's if they're farmers, they probably heard of this already. International Conference and Expo on Agriculture. It happens every year in Dubai. It's advancing together, enhancing quality of life through agriculture and horticulture. Agri Expo aims to create a bridge between academia and industry by providing boundless learning opportunities in multidisciplinary sectors and applied fields of agriculture and horticulture. Agri Expo 2022 aims to bring together scientists, researchers, and research scholars to exchange and share their knowledge and experiences and research results in all aspects of agriculture and horticulture. Agriculture and horticulture sector, and will offer, pop-up, and will offer the best platform to exchange knowledge and network. Now, this is great. That's fantastic. And I saw some video of this event in Dubai, and the what they are introducing to in terms of improving the efficiency of farming, the technologies. I'm like, what? Unreal. I can't go into detail. I encourage people just to YouTube it, and you can just put Agri Expo Dubai. I'm sure they have all that footage on there. Let me tell you, the technology and the inventions that they have to improve our ways on how we're going to make food, it is unbelievable. Now, I'm not saying this black farmer family have the money to utilize some of these inventions, but what I'm saying is probably that it can inspire them to do something other than having to buy an expanse of land, 1,000 acres, in a place like Montana, wherever, and they're going to have to deal with. Maybe you could go get away with 150 acres, 200 acres, whatever. Build a vertical farming, high-rise farming, hydroponic farming, anything where you can do, and then you can still have your pigs or horses or whatever. Pick a place where it is friendly to you. Stop just blindly hey, you know what? I'm the buy land right here, and not reading the room, not checking who your local politicians, not seeing who your neighbors. What's the politic in this area? Maybe let me just Google it. Let me get to the Googles and see how these people think out here. Because when you are out there by yourself, no one is going to save you. Let's just say the judge is nice. Let's just say the DA is an ally. All right, cool. They're going to help you out, but that's one person. They could get pressured to do nothing. It's a system. We're not talking about individuals. It's a system. A group of people is going to ensure that certain things stay the same. And you are not helping your cause, and you spend all this money when you plop yourself right down in the area where it does not make any sense. Now, I'm going to reiterate, because I'm done with this conversation, because you can't say what you want to say on, because you got limited characters to say on social media. Black folk, if you plan to move to an area for whatever it is, make sure you check the neighborhood. Make sure you check the county. Make sure you check who are the people that are in position in politics. As I said, the DA, the judges, the cops, everybody. Make sure they are friendly to you. Say, be blatant. If you in their face and you on the land, be blatant to their face. I'm buying acres of land. You want to come by over here, see what their reaction is. And I tell you, I go as far as, yo, hey, what do you think about that? Get in their faces about it. That's number one. 2, move to a place where you have a numerical advantage. Do not move to an area where it's 1 or 2 of you. Stop thinking in the sense you're believing in the propaganda. We're all American. Yeah, everybody has that right. No, that's not true. That's what they are telling you. Yeah, are you born American? Yeah, sure. I'm not saying you are not. But the reality is people don't see you as such. Okay? And that's in every facet. And you have to make sure you know who you are talking to, who you're dealing with. Number 3, smart farming. Maybe you don't have to spend all that money. I'm just trying to give suggestions. I don't have all the answers. But what I'm trying to do is minimize the negative impact from white supremacist people that live around you wherever you are. You have to be smart. Maybe smart farming will give you an opportunity where you could buy less land, and some of that money could go into the technology, the tools where you can use less land, and you can, instead of buying over here, you could buy over there if you have certain things in place as far as protection. The other thing is, of course, be armed. I believe in the Second Amendment. Be armed, no doubt. Now, you're here to farm. You are not here to set up the next battlefront. Arming yourself is something as the 3rd or 4th step. Say you arm yourself and you shoot the guy dead that's entering your house. Now you got to deal with the racist DA, the police, and everything. You're going to find your ass locked up. And all of a sudden, remember that stand your ground? The stand your ground don't mean shit for you. Be smart. Black people got to start thinking out of the box when we do things. Now, the last thing I'm going to say about this, because I said enough, be intentional. Say it with me, boys and girls. Be intentional in every move that you make, wherever you decide to go, whatever you decide to do in the year 2023. We have enough evidence even in the last decade to know that we as black folk are still dealing with a lot, and you have to be able to play this game smart. Don't think in a loser mentality. Don't make moves where you're going to end up losing. As I said, the chess game. Just don't throw your pieces out there because you're going to lose. We have to think about how we're going to win for your family, win for your community, win for you as a people. Do you understand what I'm saying? Now, I don't know if these folks, not all black folk think the same now. We're not a monolith, right? I don't know the mentality of any of these black people. For all I know, they fall for it hook, line, and sinker, and they're like, yeah, we're all American, all right. I don't know. Who knows? They could be freaking think like what's her name? Marjorie Taylor Greene. I don't know. Who's the black woman that to be talking all that crazy right-wing Republican stuff? Even I forget her name. Let me see if I could. I want to get her name because that's a perfect example of what I'm talking about. And I can't remember her name. If I go to images and I remember it, look at this fool. Nah, she was rolling with Kanye. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. This fool, here's a perfect Daniel Cameron. That dude, yeah, oh my God. Daniel Cameron, or the black senator, what's his name? Tim Scott. I don't know what these black people are like. They're living. They could be Tim Scott for all I know. They could be wearing MAGA hats for all I know. I don't know. All that they say is like, oh my God, we're having problems out here. I have no idea what their thought process is. I don't know how they move. So they could be totally like dun-dun-dun as far as I know, as far as the black farmers, and they're like, oh, help us. That move in itself to me is an indication. I got mad love for them as human beings, let's say, more so than anything, as human beings. But it was a bad move. Anyway, all right. So on to the next thing. And good luck to him, by the way. Good luck to him. You know, let's say it like that. I hope they do find justice. I hope, you know, they can find the culprits that's messing up their farm and all those things. You know, I really do hope, and I wish the best for them. And I said something on Twitter, no sympathy, but I can't be like that. I said I can't have no sympathy for folks like that. Now, you know, I wish the best for them, and I hope that justice will come their way, man. But yeah. So the point of this podcast is I did something called that I made as one of the things that I had to do for the month of January. It's about a Point Proclamation for Black communities and hip hop. And I was inspired by, as I said before, by Takeoff's death, and you know, Takeoff dying, that was really unexpected. You know, it's sad to see a lot of these rappers, some of these rappers, even though I don't even, sometimes, you know, I feel some of it can be propaganda because, you know, when I go online and I read the news and they talk about this next rapper died, I'm like, who is this person? I don't even know who this person is. And I gave the reason, if a random white person dies and he has a guitar around his neck, am I going to call him an up and coming rock artist? No, he's a dude that died, unfortunately. Violently, and it's mad unfortunate. So not every dude that goes in the studio you can say he's a rapper, but sometimes I have and this idea that it's all a part of the propaganda piece to kind of destroy the image of hip hop and rappers and such and so forth, that they then end violently. So, you know, in ways where you can undermine their character and devalue them when you constantly see them in these situations, and you start to become desensitized and not really caring. So anyway, the point is, I made this 8-point proclamation because, again, I'm tired of seeing these situations where you have dudes like brothers, their uncles, their brothers, their fathers, their sons, and they end up dying. So I put up this 8-point proclamation because a lot of people throw around this word culture, you know, the hip hop culture. We got to respect that this is a culture. It came out of, and I'm like, yeah, no doubt. You know, this is, we literally built a culture out of nothing, from everything that black people were stripped of by coming to this land. Hip hop is a culture where it's more than music. You have rappers that do rap music that rhyme words, but hip hop, not just as a musical genre, but is created an entire culture from a smorgasbord of different people, black folk from different areas have come together, whether you're generationally African American of this land, or you come from the Caribbean, West Indian, or you come from the continent, and you all came here, born here, and you made your own contributions to hip hop culture. And I feel that if we are going to treat this as a culture, there's a certain level, a degree of responsibility that we must have as a people if we see this as a culture, because what makes up the culture are the people. And as it grows and as it develops, we can highlight the best parts of it and utilize that where it can and put us in the best of light. And you never know where this can take black folk. Now, in particular, I say black folk because black folk created hip hop. But for especially everyone that does listen to hip hop around the world and partake in it and enjoy it, I think it's necessary that there's certain things that have to get in line. We have to get in line with, and we can't live in that American behavior where, you know, I can do whatever I want. It's a free country. No, we can't do that, because there are consequences to your actions. And every action that we do reverberates around the world in our communities. And those little choices that we make sends those ripples throughout. And it in small ways and in large ways, it affects how the world and how we see ourselves as people in this space, living on this planet, living in the United States of America. So I put out this 8-point proclamation that I'm hoping I'm going to make it a part of a change.org. Hopefully I can build support behind this, and just to show not just hip hop, not to show not just the world, but ourselves, that we respect the music that we create. And we're going to encourage the very folks that create this music are going to encourage the best parts and to elevate the best parts of ourselves in ways where it can permeate the music and also redirect us as a folk from whatever community or neighborhood that we're coming from in America. The first thing, 8 points, the first thing that I have on this list is the no-kill vow. And this, like I said, this is directly tied to Takeoff. We have a lot of problems with black people in this country, as I just mentioned with those black farmers. There's so many things that we're dealing with, even the things that we're dealing with that we do ourselves, that has been passed on to us and has become a part of our behavior. And I remember when Charlemagne the God said we have a tendency to make our trauma into culture. And I believe I'm getting that right, paraphrasing. And we have to be careful not to take that trauma and turn it into something that we think should be what we should be. And one of those things is the no-kill vow, man. If we're going to have arguments, we're going to have disagreements. But I think that we should start taking our energies and turn it outward. And even though we do have our disagreements, there's a vow that we must have, that we must pass along to every black individual in our communities, that we do not kill each other, that we will solve our problems, and we would come together as a family. And even if we don't come together as a family, if we dislike each other and we go back to our respective corners or wherever we're from, we can go back to them alive. And that there will always be another day, because there are brothers and sisters that get caught up in the moment and they kill, and they get caught up in the system, and they're doing 15, 20, 25, 30 years, and they can't believe what they're facing because they got so caught up in the moment. I saw this one video of this brother couldn't believe the amount of years he was getting that the judge was smacking him with. Now, yeah, he did deserve it. He did what he did, and he's going to have to face justice. But you just wish there was a mentor or someone there old enough with common sense and reason to pull that brother out of his situation, because they're designed to keep you locked up. And we got to have a no-kill vow, because we have enough death that we're dealing with on the outside. And you know what I'm talking about. And I want brothers and sisters to talk to each other, and to the point where we can talk to each other through our eyes and our behavior, that we're not going to cross that threshold, and we're going to push forward and see that situation another day, and we can know that, wow, yeah, at least it didn't end up in that way. Hopefully we can resolve our issues some other way. The no-kill vow. We have to stop this death that's happening in black communities, because Takeoff did not have to die. He did not have to die over a stupid game. And some of the details that happened, when you hear the story, it was so unavoidable. It was so avoidable. It was crazy. The situation that led up to his death, untimely death, was so avoidable. And we have to start seeing value in our lives and knowing that we do not want it to end abruptly, and that we have families that we want to go back to. So that's the first thing, no kill vows. Number 2, and this is a hard one, and I've spoken about this on the show, the no end challenge. You know what the end means? Excuse me. The no nigga challenge. To kill that word, man. I think I'm taking my personal thought into this. I feel that we need to kill that word, man. We've been dealing with it for a long time, and I, when I walk through the streets of New York and I hear the youth saying it, and I'm like, damn, man, if they understood. And I think what's happening, it's a definite disservice to folks, is that the history, the learned lessons over the decades, over the centuries, that is a part of our history in African American culture, I think is not reaching the youth. And when it doesn't reach the youth and all they do is take the negative things of what we are it becomes a part of them, and that will affect the decisions that they make. And I think one of those things is the use of the N-word. Now, let me tell you, white folks, I'm going to speak to y'all white folks that's listening to the show. Black people do not use that word like that. Yeah, dudes come out of my mouth. Yeah, you hear it. But black people as a whole, depending where you at, we don't use a word like that. We don't. A lot of times you see these media shows talking to these rappers and everybody talking about, what do you think about using the N-word? And they'll tell you, well, I use it as a term of endearment. I don't think it's a big deal to use the word. That's them. Have you ever seen the media point the mic and camera in the faces of the masses? They go to any black neighborhood. They go and say, hey, what you think? They never do that. They just talk to the rappers. They talk to the artists. And a lot of times people got to realize artists have their own insulated lives. They live in a bubble. So their truths go as far as their influence goes. And that's their crew. That's the people that set up their lives in the music business. And people go right along with what they saying. So you cannot expect a real understanding and get some real perspective on the use of the word, the N-word. But black folk that live through their lives, blue collar workers, whatever, we don't use a word like that. Like I said, I worked in a place where years ago where we called each other by our last name, and the N-word never came out. Never came out. It changes the energy in the room when that happens. When you go, yo, what up, my nigga? When instead of saying that, you say, what up, God? What up, my dude? What up, brother? Whatever the case, it changes the energy. Just not initially, but throughout the whole room, through the whole time period that you're in that room. The energy, the vibe changes when that word is not used. And I think that we should stop it in our communities, and we should curtail it in the music. Check this out. Rakim never cursed. Now, Pete Gaines is a prime example. Rakim, everybody knows the beginning, the God. Rakim never cursed, and I never realized it all these years of listening to Rakim until I saw a little snippet story on IG or whatever social media saying Rakim never cursed on any of his songs. I'm like, word? So I'm going back and listening to Rakim. I'm like, yo, I'm today years old. Rakim ain't never cursed. Rakim never cursed because he said he wanted his parents to listen to his music as well. And he didn't want to offend them. So he never cursed. And I'm like, yo, and that was the hardest music. You felt those bars. You felt the energy through his music. And I'm like, damn, that's a street dude. But he never, and you never realize. I know I never realized it. We could do the same thing with the N-word. Third thing that we could do in our community, build business ownership. I can't express that enough. You already know how important it is to build black business. You hire your folks, you hire your people. You could build wealth in your communities. You could create jobs in your communities. It's so important to build black business. And we've heard that so much, but I thought it was necessary to make it a part of the proclamation, because it's enough that we have been the employees, and we have been good enough or felt that it was enough to be employees, because that was a part of the equity, right? That was a part of equity in America, that we could be treated fairly and there's going to be no discrimination in terms of hiring and all that. And we got satisfied with that. But I think it's important that we build black business where now we become the owners, and we could create wealth, and we could turn that into our own communities, and we can hire our folks that they don't have to deal with the racism. Have y'all seen that video of that woman that broke down crying, dealing with racism, and she was just tired of it, and she just let out all her frustrations on camera? I felt for her. If y'all haven't seen it, Google it. I don't know where you can find it. I felt for her. I was like, sister, we there with you. We understand. We know what it is. And we, as owners, as business owners, we could alleviate, we could find solutions. We could get our folks out of situations where they got to deal with racism and having to bottle it up and deal with it until the point where they got to blow up on IG and just unfurl, open up their heart on IG to the world. We can solve that. Build black business. The fourth one, advocate for mental health support, man. Mental health is so important. Charlemagne the God, he said it so many times. Mental health is important. We dealt with 400 years of oppression. You think we're just going to come out of this unscathed? This is not some Marvel DC world. We're not superheroes. We could be strong. We could work ourselves out of these situations, and we still here standing. But we're going to come out with some battle scars, not just physical battle scars, but we're going to come out with mental battle scars. I think it's important that we deal with that. And a lot of that angst and that frustration, because we come from lower income communities, it comes out towards each other. I think mental health should be as prevalent in Black communities as you see the bodega, straight up. Dr. Joy DeGroy, she talks about it in her analysis in her book, Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome. That comes out, and the way that it comes out, these frustrations, and how all of these things are interconnected, and it influences the decisions that we make within our community, whether we're going to shoot for the stars or settle into mediocrity. I think mental health is so important, and I'm for that all the way. I'm talking to the Black community and hip hop. Empowering politics. Next one, number 5. Get involved, groom and vote your own politician and support your interests. Collectively support your politicians. And I said that before with the Black farmers. You never know who you're dealing with when you're trying to get justice. And you're not going to get justice if you live in a town where you know it's MAGA filled. Support politicians who support you. You can't get any more basic in that point, in point number 5 in this 8-point proclamation. Local politics is so important. You can't worry about federal. You can't, state's the next level up, and you can have a great influence on the state level if you get your local politics right. You have to get involved. You stop voting for people because a Democrat. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I'm for what is right. Vote for people that have your own best interests. And if that means you have to groom your own politician to be your mayors, to be your city council, to be your public advocates, to be your borough president, I'm talking about from a New York sense, do that. And if that person cannot talk to you on a real, if they cannot connect and have a relationship, a rapport with the people on the ground, even before they get on the mic and set their campaign, that's not the person for you. Excuse me. I'm running dry here. They're not the person for you. They're going to get in and they're going to leave your ass in the dust. And you want to put that same energy. You want the same, and when I talk to the gangsters, the G's, I'm talking to everybody out there that be willing to kill someone, scuff your sneakers or mess with your girl, whatever. Take that same energy and go up to City Hall and get what you want. Get it. Because the root cause of all the pain and the suffering in poor communities is not both of y'all. The person you looking in the mirror, the person that when you get out your off your porch and you go on the block, that's not the source of your pain. The source of your pain is the local politicians. They're not representing you. And if you take that same G'd up gangster shit to the local politicians, you gonna get some change. Because you're not gonna get no change by first facing your mans is dressing all blue and you in all red. They ain't gonna get you nowhere. You won't even own the blocks you fighting over. You understand what I'm saying? Power in politics. Get it right. Number 6, gang truce. I just mentioned that. Work for your community, man. Work for your community. Let me see if I get this right. Rethink the gang. Excuse me. Rethink, that's number 6. Rethink the gang. I know the pain that we go through. I know that a lot of times we come from broken homes, and I know how it goes. When you come from that broken home and you're trying to find another family that you're not getting at home, and you find that love and you find that support amongst you dudes on the block, and you find out they're going through similar situations. Now you got to go through some hazing phase or whatever because you got to get G'd up in the gang. You got to do shit. Next thing you know, you caught up. We got to change the attitude. I'm not saying you can't have some camaraderie with the people that live on your block, whoever you connect up with, but not to the point where you're going to do illegal things, because the prison industrial complex is modern day slavery. They don't care about you. Do you understand this? For all the young black youth that's listening to this and it spreads to, they don't care about you. They don't give a damn what gang you in. Matter of fact, they want you to kill. They want you to commit robberies. They want you to do things that's against your community, where your own folks will have to give you up. Oh my God, this dude's a monster. He's a menace, because they need to fill these jails. You are a quota, young man. And if you don't know, read up on it. Talk to the G's. They don't care about your situation. So we're going to have to change the idea, rethink this gang, where we could turn it into a group, community centers, mental health clinics. We have to build that familial support where we could get themselves out of this gang mentality where it's kill or be killed. Number 7, community police. Next one. Community policing is so important. Because on one hand, you have the police departments that are ravaging your neighborhoods, that are killing your people, and you could see it right up to this day where it still is happening. Ain't nothing changed. You have, they're talking about we're gonna fund in new training. We're gonna allocate funds for new this, new that. We want to build relationships. We're gonna get chest cams. We're gonna do training, retraining, and it hasn't changed a damn thing. And I always say to my nephew, man, I don't care what you say. I care about what you do. And in terms of police, I don't care what they're saying. I'm paying attention to what they doing. Especially, in 2020 with the killing of George Floyd, they was in the uproar in 2020 with the killing of George Floyd. They was all cool and they was all nice and there was no problems whatsoever. Oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And what happened? What year are we in today? And nothing. We're still getting what chest cam footage of black men getting killed and calling for their mama. We're still seeing the aggression from police to the point now where we're seeing where they want to build, as they say, Cop City in Atlanta. Why? The people want homes. The people want an opportunity for jobs and education. Why do they need? What is going on in Atlanta where it is so crazy where they need Cop City? They need a fortress to train. They're training like they're getting ready for war. And it's not just in Atlanta. I'm hearing, and I forgot to go through it, like it's happening in Kansas. They're building police facilities. And in Chicago, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong. Why? When the answer is the police, you take away the militarization of the police. Police are a short-term answer to issues in the community. And I'm grown. And politicians are older than me and they know this. The problem is there's money to be made. And it's either two ways. Either there's severe police aggression and then the people uprise and the people fight off of it and the local the police chief gets fired and certain people get fired and all of a sudden everybody's making concessions. Everybody's talking on camera like, oh, we're going to change things. And then when things actually change, what happens with police departments? Then all of a sudden they say, well, I'm not going to do nothing now. It goes to in the exact opposite, where they don't want to do anything, where of course you're going to have some crime in low income areas, right? No doubt. But then they be like, in order for what they do to protest is they don't do anything. And they're gonna force the people's hands where they're gonna say, oh, we need police. And then the police chief and the mayor's gonna say, see, I told you need police. When that doesn't solve the problem. So you see the police twiddling in their thumbs. You're like, I ain't going out there. Where they're taking away money from the city because the city sees revenue through black communities, black and brown communities. They see revenue being lost when police are not ticketing, pulling over people in traffic stops or whatever the case may be. They're not locking up people. They got to fill these jails. They see you as a number. So in order to fix that, you have to do your own community policing. In order to get the racist cops off your block and to protect the lives of your folks, and in order to protect your community, when you still do have some problems and you got police that's twiddling their thumbs because they want to force the mayor, force the city to say, see, we need to get things back in order. We can't knock over the heads of community policing. And in whatever way that you can. The last thing I want to share with you guys. This is all for hip hop, by hip hop, through hip hop. We not only want to see a change in our communities when we look at each other, but this is the audience that's directly speaking to the artist community in the hip hop music business. We are going to change. We want you to change. We want you to change the attitudes that you're sharing on your bars and your music. We want you to change in how you speak on these records. And we're not trying to stifle you. We're not trying to pressure or take away your artistic license to do what you do. But this is different. Just the same way years ago you can't be just an artist today, years ago when you were an artist and you got taken advantage of, now the technology has come up where you can control your own destiny and you can't just be an artist just doing music. You have to be the music executive, the marketing promoter, the tour manager, and all those things. The same way where you have to wear all these hats. We want you to wear the hat of responsibility when it comes to how we present ourselves to our people, to America, to the world. Now, I've been in this and I love this on the baby. We're in the 50th year of hip hop. And I love this music, man. I bounced to it. I'm an artist myself. Man, I was at the clubs, at the bars. Now growing up, I'm listening to music on the radio and I'm seeing all these things. And I appreciate where hip hop is today. I remember when they said that it was some subculture music and it wasn't getting anywhere back in the early 80s. When I was a little young type, it was like, this ain't going nowhere. I remember watching those little news shows. Hey. Now it is the global force. And we know this. We know the history. Black folk has created every popular music genre in America. And hip hop is one of the last of it. And it is another journey, that musical journey that we are taking, that we are sharing with the world, sharing our black magic. But we demand more from artists. We demand more from artists where we don't see them pigeonholed doing one type of music. That we can explore and be the true artist that you are and explore other ways where you can present music, man. We want to see that. We want to see that because it is getting stale. Because I'm hearing the same thing over and over again. And the artists are out there, the ones that are really pushing the envelope, that's recreating this music in their own image, in their own eye, in their own ear. But of course, the machine doesn't want the best for hip hop. They never care for it. All they care about with hip hop is the money that they can get from it. But the people who are creating this music, this is your responsibility. This is the burden that you bear, that you have to bring the best out. So we're asking hip hop, the people in the music business, as the final step in this 8-point proclamation, that we can take all these points, that we can self-correct in our own communities and start being intentional. As I said, that remember that we're being intentional in how we move. We have to be intentional of how we present hip hop to the world. And if that means in terms of business, by creating our own spaces, if that means we can push the envelope and invite new types of sounds and sights to this music and revitalize it and get that same spirit, that same energy as how it started back in the 70s, that's what we're asking you. To be better. Especially all the hip hop artists and everything that we see, everyone, male and female, we can do this better. It is a culture. We have to preserve it. We have to respect it. We cannot take it as some kind of a business entity. We, our uncles, our fathers, our aunts, our mothers, they had their hand in it previously back in the early 70s, through the 80s, through the 90s. Now we in the 2000s, 21st century. Let's respect this music, man. Let's do what we can to put our best foot forward, and we could be like, "Dang, you heard that?" I remember back in the day when you be like, "Yo, rewind. Do you hear what he said? You hear what she said?" Bars. That's what we want with hip hop, man. So we don't have more takeoffs. So we don't have more of all the other brothers, more Pacs and more Biggies. Understand what I'm saying? Anyway, that's my 8-point proclamation. I would share it. People, please go on change.org. This is going to be a long-standing mission. I'm going to have that a part of of Lyfeblood.com for a while. Please check it out. Share it with your friends. Share it with your family. Share it with the artists that you know. We're going to change this music. We're going to change the way we move, because we are so influential as a people in this country, in this world. We have to start respecting the value that we're putting out there, that energy that we're putting out there. We have to realize our position, realize our value, realize what we have contributed from thousands of years ago in ancient Kemet to what we're contributing now, that we're still influencing the world on. We have to realize and respect what we have given, and to take our place and to realize who we are, and to truly see ourselves as the bright spirits that we know ourselves to be. All right, folks, I'm going to get out of here. Thank you for listening to me. Like I said, go to change.org and be a part of it. Sign it, and share with everybody. And I think this is what's necessary. We truly need to change how we're doing things. And I'll see you guys next week. All right, I'm out. Peace.
Check it.
You just listened to GCOM Radio, powered by Lyfeblood.com for the global community.
We worldwide, baby.
See you in the next go round. From right here to your town, we out.